Wall Street veteran Bernard Madoff has been arrested and charged with running a $50 billion Ponzi scheme.
Congress wants to know what caused the Enron meltdown.
Now, while the collective rage currently is focused on WorldCom,
Tyco CEO Dennis Kozlowski was convicted of looting hundreds of millions of dollars.
This is one of the biggest fraud cases ever.
Their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Find out more on this week's episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
We have all heard of the hero Robin Hood, the fictional character who steals from the rich and gives to the poor. But what if someone steals from the poor and gives to the rich? That's a diabolical tale indeed. And that's exactly what happened when hackers made their way into the Bangladesh central bank's systems and attempted to purge the country of almost every penny that they had. Who would do such a thing? Will the criminals ever face justice? Find out on this week's episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
No, I'm pretty sure a reverse Robin Hood is just every company.
Yeah, that's
or
true.
At least most companies.
Yeah, that's true. Very fair. Most of the things we talk about.
Yeah, it's just consumerism in general. Is getting people to spend money they don't have on dumb shit.
Yeah.
And then giving it to people who already have way too much money.
You know what? You're right. And I fall for it every time. Welcome back to another episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
I'm Kishan.
And I'm Nina. And today we are going out of the country for a little bit and we are going to Bangladesh.
Whoa.
Where's Bangladesh?
India?
Yeah. Well, it's right by India. Yeah. Good job.
Yes.
Wow. Kishan is not very good at geography.
Southeast Asia.
Yes. Good job.
Yes.
Good job. I really thought you were not going to get it.
Yeah, I hit the cardinal directions even.
Good job. Yes. Proud of you.
Don't ask me anything else about it this episode.
Well, that's all right. So, like Kishan said, Bangladesh, it is the country that is nestled on the east side of India, has a population of 171.5 million people. Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, is home to 17 million people. It is a very poor city where a third of the population survives on less than $2 per day.
It's always crazy to me how dense the populations are in these cities.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, biggest city in America is New York, 8.7, something like that.
Yeah.
8.3 million people. So it's just crazy to think 17 million people all in one city.
So Dhaka is 125 square miles. And New York City is 469 square miles. So you've got a lot more people shoved into Dhaka than New York. And it's like what?
It's a fourth of the area.
A fourth of the size, but 2 times the people. That's crazy. That's crazy. And people say New York is like super packed.
Yeah.
Bangladesh is actually a relatively new country. They gained their independence in 1971. Since gaining independence, they've had the regular growing pains of a new country, including political instability, reconstruction of the economy, and social transformation. Bangladesh does have one of the world's fastest growing economies. Their GDP grew 6.4% from 2010 to 2023. So they're, not a rich country by any means, but
they're on their way up.
They're doing better.
Started from the bottom.
Now we're here.
Exactly.
Now we're here. And although Bangladesh has seen growth over the last decade, they are not an economy that it can afford to lose money. So it was a day like any other day at the Bangladesh Central Bank. The office was running smoothly, and then suddenly the printer stops working at 8:45 a.m.
I mean, have they tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
We'll get to that part.
All right.
It seems like a simple fix. Zubair bin Huda, the duty manager, thought nothing of the printer. No, he was like, thought nothing of it. He was like, oh, well, they'd had printer problems before. And I know at my school, pretty much, I think every job ever, the printer is a disaster.
Such an old device. So many problems still. Huh?
Yeah.
Fix that, please.
We really are all the same. We all can have that in common. Every country in the world, our printers at work don't work. And you know what? The printer didn't work, but they carried on business as usual. Later, he told the police, quote, such glitches had happened before, so we assumed it was a common problem, just like any other day. Bangladesh is home to many Muslims. 150 million out of the 171.5 million people in the country are Muslim. And by 11 o'clock a.m., it was time for Friday prayers. Ben Huda had left for the afternoon, and he and his colleagues concluded that they would fix the printer the following day. When he returns to work the next day, he finds that the printer is still having issues. He and his coworkers reboot the printer, and that is when they find out that the unthinkable had happened. The printer starts printing urgent messages from New York Federal Reserve Bank. The Fed had been asked to drain Bangladesh Citibank's account. This is when they discovered that when the employees of the Bangladesh Citibank went home, hackers broke into the computer system. Now, how on earth were the hackers able to infiltrate an entire country's banking system?
Well, it sounds like the IT department can't even get to a ticket to fix the goddamn printer. So it's probably that.
That could be it. So it was discovered that the hackers had sent an infected email to employees of the company, which they used to collect passwords and usernames of the employees. They were also able to hack into the bank's SWIFT account, which is a system that is used to send money and messages around the world. Now, SWIFT, which stands for Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, is a banking system that was developed in 1973. Just when Bangladesh was only 2 years old. Like I said before, it's basically a messaging system that is used for banks to communicate with one each other, and they give messages about sending money. And this is used all over the world. Over 200 companies use this system.
Also, I can't believe you think that people in Bangladesh would be very familiar with phishing scams, because that's probably where a lot of them start.
Yeah, no.
But they still got fooled by this. So funny.
Yeah. Now, SWIFT does not manage the accounts. Like, the bank is using SWIFT to communicate with the other banks, but SWIFT does not manage their accounts or anything like that. It's truly just a messaging system. And although that SWIFT boasts that it is extremely secure, they have come under scrutiny for how secure they actually are. Like, they're like, you're not as secure as you say you are. Now, the hackers had sent 35 requests for transactions from Bangladesh's bank account to the Federal Reserve Bank in New York City, where they had about $1 billion in their bank account. The 35 requests totaled $951 million. Most of the requests were blocked, but 4 did get through. The 4 that went through totaled $81 million, and they were sent to the RCBC Bank, which is located in the Philippines. There was also a request for $20 million that was sent to Sri Lanka, but that money was recovered. When the $20 million was requested from Sri Lanka, one of the clerks found the amount of money that was being transferred suspicious, and they held the order, and then they went to the Deutsche Bank, which not totally clear on why they went to the Deutsche Bank. They must have some sort of control. I don't want to say control, but
Deutsche Bank is a very large bank.
Yeah. So they went to Deutsche Bank and they held the order to make sure everything was okay. Upon further inspection, Deutsche Bank found that the word foundation was misspelled. So they contacted the Bangladesh bank and were able to stop the order. The reason that many of these transfers from New York City didn't go through and cause way more chaos than it was actually caused was because the RCBC Bank that was in the Philippines that it was being transferred to was on Jupiter Street. Now, the word Jupiter flagged the system because it's the name of an Iranian oil tanker, which has nothing to do with the heist, but the U.S. had sanctions on Iran. So because this is the name of an oil tanker and they had that word in there to flag it, it flagged Jupiter. And this little coincidence saved Bangladesh saved Bangladesh hundreds of millions of dollars.
How much word salad is getting blocked then? Because Jupiter, I know. I can think of at least 3 other things that are named Jupiter. So
the planet. What are the other 2 things?
Notebooks. You're not going to get that reference. But yeah.
I'm not.
And it's also where boys go to get more stupider.
Stupider, yeah.
So.
Okay, so I knew two of them. However, there were other suspicious things about the transfers. One being that the transfers were being sent to individual people instead of organizations, and that they weren't formatted correctly. The Federal Reserve Bank was concerned about the transfers and tried to contact Bangladesh Bank on Thursday using SWIFT, and then tried again twice on Friday. However, the hackers had actually hacked into the printer and shut it down. So that's why it wasn't printing. So it took until Saturday for the Bangladesh Central Bank to realize what had happened. And then because it was Saturday, they were not able to get messages to New York City until Monday that they had figured out that they had been hacked.
Man, they can hack into a printer. They can steal millions of dollars, can't spell the word foundation or fire up Grammarly or spell check or something.
Well, I will say this happened all happened in February of 2016.
Okay. They had tools that would spell check foundation for you.
Grammarly back then because I used Grammarly in college.
Exactly. So,
The Bangladesh Bank also reached out to the Philippines to let them know what was going on. However, this happened during the Lunar New Year, which is a non-working holiday in the Philippines. So the message was not conveyed in an adequate amount of time. The money had been sent to, and I apologize if I say this wrong, the money had been sent to Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, better known as RCBC, which is the 5th largest bank in the Philippines. The money had been deposited into personal accounts, like I said. The whole thing was fishy. They just needed to find out who was behind it all. The money that went into the accounts were opened by using fake IDs. The hackers sent requests, so I'm just going over on how this happened. The money that the accounts went into were opened with fake IDs. Mm-hmm. The hackers sent payment requests from Bangladesh to New York on Thursday. By Friday morning, the money had hit the accounts at RCBC near Manila, which is the capital or one of the big cities in the Philippines. It was then moved between multiple accounts that were controlled by Philrem. We're going to talk more about that in a second, which is a remittance company. The money was then moved electronically and in cash to Manila's casino industry. Okay, I'm going to go now deeper into the little details. So Maya DeGuido was a former bank manager at RCBC in Jupiter, on Jupiter Street, I should say, which was located in an affluent neighborhood in the Philippines. The Philippine government said that she knowingly went against bank policies so that the scandal could be carried out and that she knowingly went against protocol to make the accounts. But why would a bank manager go against protocol to make fake accounts? Some say that she was corroborating with questionable people. DeGuido had met with Kim Wong, a restaurateur and president of Eastern Hawaii Leisure Company. Wong, who is from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong Wong?
Hong Kong Wong.
Oh, I love Hong Kong Wong. We go way back.
Yeah.
A long, long time. Long, me and Hong Kong Wong.
Okay, so Hong Kong Wong, he also ran casino junkets in Manila, and he would bring in high rollers from China to gamble at the casinos. And he would provide the Chinese high rollers with chips, and then he would take a cut of their winnings. All right. Now, when DeGuido met with Wong in May of 2015, he introduced her, allegedly introduced her to some Filipino associates, and she set them up with bank accounts at the Jupiter branch. However, in court, RCBC claimed that these clients never existed and that the accounts were opened fraudulently. The accounts sat inactive for about 8 months and then magically became active on February 5th, 2016. A coworker claims that they saw DeGito stuffing $400,000 into a paper bag and then left with that bag the day of the heist. When she arrived back to the office on February 9th after the holiday weekend, she began moving the $81 million that had been deposited into the accounts. One of the accountants said, so this is when she transferred the money to the remittance firm accounts that were held by FilmRem. And the couple that owns FilmRem are Michael and Salud Bautista.
Sorry, she put $400K into a paper bag.
Yeah.
But they're in Manila and she didn't use an envelope.
Listen, I can't make sense of everything.
She really missed out on an opportunity, like represent your culture.
Absolutely.
You know?
Show your people where you've come from.
Use an envelope, a Manila envelope.
Disappointing all around. That evening, a courier from FilmRem testified that they, I don't know if it was male or female, that they took bags filled with 90 million Philippine pesos and $500,000 in U.S. cash to a casino. Upon arriving to the casino, Wong, Salud Bautista, and an associate of Wong's were waiting for him. Then, the money that the courier brought was gambled. It said that $30 million was given to an associate of Wong's, $21 million was wired to Wong's company, Eastern Hawaii, and then another $29 million was wired to Solaire Casino. Okay? This is the casino where they were gambling at. Wong claims that he only received $13.5 million and that $5 million, and that the Bautistas got the rest of the money. It's also noted that two of Wong's gambling promoters, Gao Shuha and Ding Zhiji, who are believed to be from Macau, China, received the cash. Now, as the money was gambled away, it was then turned into chips that then were turned into cash again, making the money untraceable. The winners' names were not registered, and their winnings were never claimed.
This is a very common money laundering tactic.
Oh.
BT dubs.
Yeah.
It's just to take it to a casino and
gamble it. Yeah. RCBC Bank was fined $20 million for not complying to banking regulations, and multiple higher-ups resigned. So DeGito actually ended up in prison. I've seen multiple sources that say she got 56 years in prison and was ordered to pay a fine of $109 million. I do think she was part of the scandal because when the transfers were sent to the RCBC, DeGito quickly approved them. There's more than one person who says, I watched her. Well, not more than one person, but there is a witness who says, I saw her stuffing money in a bag and I saw her transferring the money out of the accounts. And I would say it's a legitimate source. I do think she was involved. But many think that the whole story was never uncovered due to the fact that DeGito did not have witness protection. Some people claim, and these are people who are in the government. I was watching an interview and one government official claimed that it's believed that she was being threatened and that's why she approved the funds.
I mean,
it's hard to say.
It seems like these people are, unsavory at best.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So the thought of her being manipulated into something like this or threatened into something like this is not out of the realm of reason.
No. Well, especially if she didn't have like a history of this stuff, right? It's not.
From what I see, no, because she was a career banker who worked her way up to branch manager. I mean, I don't know why you would F it up.
Go work with gangsters.
Yeah, and it also sounds like she wasn't being particularly sneaky. Like someone saw her stuffing money into a bag and then making transfers really quick and like knowing when the money dropped and then just automatically moving it out, like kind of sounds panicked, and it kind of sounds like, I don't know. I just feel like if you were doing this on purpose, you might be a tad bit sneakier.
Yeah. I mean, I think people are dumber than you may give them credit for.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But like I said, the money was untraceable after it had been gambled, and it was very hard for investigators to find the missing money because the Philippines actually has secrecy laws, really strict secrecy laws with their bank accounts. They have secrecy laws that are on par with Switzerland, which I did not know. That's why people always hide stuff in Swiss bank accounts, because the secrecy laws are so strict.
It's better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they comply more now because people used it so much, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, although many people in the country, in the Philippines, view their bank secrecy laws as a good thing, it does make it harder when there are crimes like this for investigators to get to the bottom of the case. Gao Shuha and Ding Zhiji are thought to be part of the heist, like I said earlier. However, given the digital evidence that has been presented to investigators and the FBI, it is believed that North Korea may be behind the entire heist. It's believed that once the gamblers got back to Macau, China, where they were originally from, that they transferred the money to Pyongyang.
Whoa, when did North Korea get involved?
Well, there's I guess there's digital evidence that believes that North Korea was part of this. And then they think that these two men got the money in cash from the casino. They hadn't really figured out enough behind what was going on at that point to for border control to be put up. I was watching an interview and someone from the government in the Philippines was saying that their border control is not necessarily super secure. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you can really easily pay people off to leave the country. So he's like, it would have been really, really hard to catch them anyways. So they were from Macau, China, and they think they went back, either wire transferred it or got a courier and had them deliver it directly to Pyongyang, which is crazy.
North Korea finding any way to do things except for feed their population.
No, literally, what did they do with that $81 million? So the reason that investigators think this is because the codes that the hackers used in the heist, they used this one code that basically erased their tracks, that made it look like there were no hackers to begin with, when you would go back into the system. I don't really understand how this all works, but that's what they were saying. So it erased their tracks. This same thing happened in 2014 when Sony Pictures was hacked, and North Korea is also thought to be behind that.
That was because of the interview, the Seth Rogen,
yes,
the freaking Seth Rogen movie.
Yes.
Yeah, no, yep. I remember that. That's why they weren't going to release the movie, because they were like, if you release the movie, we're going to steal all of your money or some shit.
Yeah.
And they got talked into releasing it in a small theatrical release because they were like, if you don't, North Korea wins.
I remember that.
And then they got hacked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. North Korea denies doing this, but they wouldn't admit to it anyway. So yeah. Yeah. But apparently it's the same kind of code that they used to hack Sony.
Oh.
So that's why they think North Korea might be behind it. I actually watched that movie. It wasn't that great.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't enough to be like, you're getting upset about this, North Korea? Come on.
No, it was not enough to get upset about, but they can't.
It was just going to flop in theaters.
No, it was not a good film.
But then they brought attention to it, so way more people watched it then.
Well, yeah, because then people were like, well, F you, so then they had to go see it. Although gambling is illegal in North Korea, their government has always been really interested in the casino industry, and that's another reason why they think that they're behind all this. They are into random stuff.
Wait, sorry. The lines aren't connecting there. What?
So
just because they're into the casino industry,
they're like,
committed a bank heist?
Well, no, because the way the hackers hacked into the bank account, and then so that's why they think, and then they're like, oh, they're super interested in the casino industry as well. So they think that that's all connected. That they were like, yeah, go gamble the money so that it looks untraceable.
Oh, in that case, that's just a very loose connection then.
That one is loose.
That's
just a note.
It's shot in the dark there, but okay.
I think that the hackers using the same code is a better guess.
Yeah, obviously.
But this was also...
money was sent
to... It was noted in a New York Times article.
Money was wired to Pyongyang.
They think that's what happened because the money was untraceable. So
They never found any wire transfers to be like a large amount.
Not
wire transfers
like
from Macau to Pyongyang.
For sure, because they also think that it might have been carried there by a person.
Oh, well.
So out of all the money that was stolen, only about 15 million has been recovered. Now, Wong is the one who turned over $15 million himself. The Bautistas have yet to give back any money, but they have stood on the fact that they are innocent and don't need to turn any of that cash in. The rest of the money, like we had said earlier, has been squandered away, never to be seen again. Well, that we know of. It was seen somewhere, but not in Bangladesh.
And so this was, how much did they actually get out then?
81 million. But, okay, 81 minus 15.
Okay. But they could have got all 956
they
million.
They could have gotten 900 they could have gotten almost $1 billion had they not been stopped.
So,
but $81 million still is going to hit a country like Bangladesh really hard.
Fair enough.
Yeah. They don't
66 million at the end of the day. That's like a Twitter and a half.
Yeah. That's fair. Although the heist was absolutely detrimental to the Bangladesh economy and to the country as a whole, some regulations and laws have come from it. Across the world, honestly. The Philippine government passed new laws in 2017, making it harder to make for dirty money to make its way through casino doors. The country has also cracked down on money laundering as a whole after the scandal broke. Considering that the fact that the money laundering laws in the Philippines was so lax, it's kind of why these hackers chose to gamble their money there, because they knew they weren't going to be checking up on anything. Now, back in the States, Carolyn Maloney, a U.S. representative for New York, was deeply troubled by the heist and demanded answers and that regulations be put into place so something like this would never happen again. She came out with a statement and said, "Our cybersecurity is only as strong as our weakest link." And she questioned why SWIFT was the only messaging system that was being used by our banks. She noted that it was not only unsafe to have one messaging system, but she also called SWIFT to step up their security and ensure the safety of banks across the world. And thanks to Maloney, the Fed had put in place a 24/7 hotline to deal with these kind of emergencies. That did not exist before the Bangladesh bank heist. SWIFT also stepped up and took more security measures once the heist happened. SWIFT noted that its weak spots were at the personal level, where they cannot keep users' passwords and usernames safe. SWIFT did make changes to their system and to make them more secure after the hack. There has been more attempts of hacking banks through SWIFT, but none appear to be as successful as the Bangladesh bank heist. In Bangladesh, Atur Rahman, he was the governor of the bank at the time. He resigned from his position after the heist. An investigator in Bangladesh stated that there were security lapses that ultimately made the bank vulnerable, but no one at the Bangladesh bank was arrested or found guilty of any crimes. They remain steadfast in the fact that no one on their end is to blame for the heist, and they also deny any negligence. It is still not completely certain how the hackers got into the system. It's believed that it was a phishing email. We're not 100% sure, though. The only real arrest made in this case was that of Maya DeGito. Although she took the fall, many more people are responsible for the events that occurred that day. Today's story is very much like that Spider-Man meme where the three Spider-Men are like pointing at each other, trying to figure out who the heck did it. Personally, if I had to guess, I do think that Wong convinced DeGito to open the fraudulent accounts and that the money is hidden somewhere in either China or North Korea. However, today's episode shows how important cybersecurity is and how maybe you should update your passwords when there's a data breach. Although the culprits of today's story were never found, change did come about because of this disaster.
Yeah, I bet you Swift just put in two-factor authentication.
Yeah, that was basically what happened.
Back-to-back weeks, we have the champion of two-factor authentication.
Yeah, that is true. That's basically what they put in place, was that you couldn't just log in with your username and password. You had to jump through a couple more hoops.
Especially from a new IP address.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I hate two-factor authentication. However you say that word.
Authentication, bruh?
Authentication.
Yeah.
Damn it. Well, I hate that thing.
Okay.
I fucking hate it.
Okay, we get it. You're old. Just say.
It's my one boomer quote.
Go drink your prune juice, and say racist things.
No.
Huh?
I just don't think I need to do that when I'm trying to buy protein powder.
Oh my God, we're not doing this again. No one wants to hear you complain about having to fucking check an email to get some protein powder, Nina.
It's annoying.
It's such a first world problem.
It is. And you know what else is a first world luxury? Supporting us on all platforms that you see fit. We are on Facebook.com/WhiteCollarsRedHands. We are on Twitter, X at WhiteCollarsPod. We are on Instagram at WhiteCollars_RedHands. We're on TikTok at WhiteCollarsRedHands. If you want to see our lovely, lovely faces, you can head on over to YouTube and watch us there. We're doing the episode live. Look how pretty Kashan is right now. Oh, gorgeous. Stunning. Stunning, darling. If you want a free way to support us, you can do so by telling a friend, sharing us on your Instagram stories, all that good stuff. Word of mouth is the best way to get new listeners, and we need people like you to support us in any way that you can. Another free way to support us is by leaving us a review. We love 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, but just give us a 5-star review. Just do that. What else? And unfree ways to support us is by buying some merch. You can head on over to Dashery. We've got t-shirts, we've got hats, we got all kinds of stuff. You can buy something there. If you hear of a white collar crime story and you think, oh my gosh, Nina and Kashan should cover that, you can DM us on our socials or you can email us at whitecollarsredhands@gmail.com. We try to do a fan submitted episode every single season, and we would love to do yours next. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. You went super out of order, so I don't remember.
I know, my brain's kind of all over the place right now.
Did you mention our website? Contact us there? Did you mention the email?
I mentioned the email.
Yeah.
You can also go to our website, whitecollarsredhands.com, and
yeah, it's a leap to find that URL.
yeah. And you can message us there. You can find links to our socials, all that good stuff.
Our headshots are there.
Yeah, you can see how.
You want to download?
Mine's really outdated. I should update that.
Download some JPEGs of our headshots. You can
Don't do that.
You can. They're freely available. You can, and then you can do whatever you want to them. Nothing stops.
Please don't say that.
You can plug it into an AI generator and make whatever you want, except for some things, because now that's illegal. So don't do that. You can no longer make AI generated pornography from people.
Oh, well,
it's illegal.
That's fair.
It wasn't illegal until very recently, but now it's illegal. So don't do that.
Okay, gross. All right.
I'm really tired of finding videos of me online. It's
those weren't AI though.
You get mildly famous and people start putting out videos of that. Come on, man.
And on that note, we'll see you next week on another episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
I'd never do that with my feet. That's all I'm saying.